How Jeff Bezos built Amazon from a fragile idea to a global empire in the modern world. Amazon feels inevitable. It feels permanent, embedded, almost invisible in how seamlessly it integrates into daily life. A package arrives at your door before you even remember ordering it. A movie streams instantly. A cloud server hums quietly behind the scenes, powering businesses, governments, and entire industries. Amazon no longer feels like a company you choose, it feels like infrastructure you live inside. But this sense of inevitability is an illusion. Amazon was never guaranteed to exist. It was not the product of luck, timing alone, or a single brilliant idea. It was built through decades of relentless patience, radical long-term thinking, extreme personal sacrifice, and an almost dangerous willingness to ignore conventional wisdom. At the center of it all was Jeff Bezos, a man who didn't just want to build a successful business, but who believed that if you truly committed to the future, you could bend it in your favor. He didn't just want to play with things, he wanted to understand them. As a boy, he would take apart mechanical devices, often frustrating his parents. Not to break them but to see what made them work. His grandfather, a former Atomic Energy Commission director, played a critical role in shaping his mindset. On his ranch, Bezos learned practical problem-solving in environments where failure had real consequences. If something broke, you fixed it yourself. If a system failed, you redesigned it. There was no one else to blame. That early exposure to self-reliance and engineering logic embedded itself deeply into Bezos' worldview. Problems were not obstacles, they were puzzles. Academically, Bezos was exceptional. He pursued electrical engineering and computer science at Princeton University, disciplines that demanded rigor, abstraction, and precision. He wasn't studying technology for fun. He was training his mind to think in systems. After graduating, Bezos entered the world that elite technical minds were expected to enter, Wall Street. He worked at several firms, eventually landing at D. Shaw, one of the most advanced hedge funds of its time. By his late 20s, Bezos was already a senior vice president, earning extraordinary money, surrounded by brilliant minds, and positioned for a lifetime of financial security. From the outside, his life looked complete, but internally, something felt unfinished. In 1994, Bezos came across a statistic that would quietly dismantle the future he was supposed to want. Internet usage was growing at roughly 2,300% per year. Not gradually, not steadily, explosively. To Bezos, this wasn't just an interesting fact, it was a once-in-a-lifetime signal. Entire industries would be reshaped, and whoever built for this future early would define it. Yet recognizing an opportunity and acting on it are two very different things. Many people see the future coming. Very few are willing to sacrifice the present to meet it. For Jeff Bezos, the decision wasn't abstract, it was deeply personal. He wasn't struggling. He wasn't desperate. He wasn't running from failure. He had everything to lose. A prestigious job on Wall Street. A rapidly rising career at one of the most sophisticated hedge funds in the world. A reputation built among brilliant minds. Financial security that most people spend their entire lives chasing. Comfort. Stability. Certainty. Walking away from all of that meant more than quitting a job, it meant rejecting the life he was supposed to want. It meant disappointing expectations, embracing uncertainty, and choosing a path where failure would be public and unforgiving. And that's what made the decision so dangerous. Bezos understood that if he was wrong, there would be no safety net waiting for him. No guarantee he could return. No assurance the world would reward his courage. But he also understood something else, that comfort has a quiet cost. That stability can slowly turn into limitation. And that the greatest risk isn't failing after trying, it's living with the knowledge that you never tried at all. In that moment, Bezos wasn't choosing between success and failure. He was choosing between certainty and possibility. And once that choice was made, there was no turning back. And so he turned to a mental exercise that would later become famous, the regret minimization framework. He imagined himself decades in the future, looking back on his life. He asked which regret would haunt him more, trying to build something new and failing, or never trying at all. The answer was immediate. Failure would sting, but regret would linger forever. So Bezos did something that shocked nearly everyone around him. He quit his job. He and his wife, Mackenzie, packed their belongings into a car and drove across the country to Seattle. The choice of location was strategic. Seattle had access to technical talent and was close to major book distributors. Bezos wasn't interested in glamour. He was interested in leverage. The business idea he chose was deceptively simple: sell books online. At the time, it sounded absurd. People liked browsing bookstores. Shipping books was slow and expensive. And most importantly, the internet was still clunky, unreliable, and unfamiliar to consumers. But Bezos saw what others missed. No physical bookstore could ever carry millions of titles, but an online one could. Selection, not speed or profit, would be the competitive advantage. He named the company Amazon, after the largest river in the world, because he wasn't thinking about a bookstore, he was thinking about scale. Amazon began in a garage with cheap desks made from wooden doors and a single server that would frequently crash under the pressure of unexpected demand. In the earliest days, when a customer placed an order, a bell rang. At first, it rang occasionally. Then it rang constantly. Orders flooded in faster than Bezos anticipated, and Amazon immediately entered survival mode. Employees packed books on the floor because there were no tables. Bezos personally answered customer emails. Mistakes were constant. Systems failed. Shipments went missing. And yet, instead of panicking, Bezos leaned in harder. He worked 18-hour days, slept on office floors, and reinvested every dollar back into growth. Profit wasn't just postponed, it was deliberately ignored. This decision would define Amazon's destiny and make Bezos one of the most controversial figures in business. While other startups chased profitability to satisfy investors, Bezos focused obsessively on expansion. His philosophy was simple but radical. If Amazon could become the default place people shopped online, everything else would follow. Wall Street hated this idea. Analysts accused Bezos of burning money irresponsibly. Headlines mocked Amazon as Amazon bomb. Critics confidently predicted bankruptcy. But Bezos didn't flinch. He believed that the internet rewarded scale, and whoever reached it first would dominate. The engine driving this growth wasn't technology alone, it was customer obsession. Bezos demanded that Amazon put the customer first, even if it hurt in the short term. He introduced features that competitors thought were insane. Customer reviews, including negative ones. Aggressive price cuts that destroyed margins. One-click purchasing that removed friction. Fast shipping at a loss. Every decision was filtered through a single question: what would be best for the customer 5 years from now? This wasn't marketing language, it was operational doctrine. Bezos believed trust compounded faster than profit, and he was right. As Amazon grew, it expanded beyond books into electronics, toys, and household goods. But the real transformation came with the launch of Amazon Marketplace, allowing third-party sellers to operate on Amazon's platform. This move turned Amazon from a retailer into an ecosystem. Sellers depended on Amazon's traffic. Customers depended on its reliability. And Amazon quietly positioned itself at the center of both. It collected data, refined logistics, and scaled infrastructure while competitors focused on individual product categories. Amazon wasn't trying to win individual battles, it was building a battlefield where it controlled the rules. Then came the dot-com crash. In 2000, the internet bubble burst, wiping out thousands of companies almost overnight. Amazon's stock collapsed by more than 90%. Once again, critics declared Bezos finished. But something unexpected happened. Amazon survived. Bezos had been preparing for this moment without even knowing it. Because Amazon had focused on infrastructure, cash reserves, and customer loyalty instead of hype, it was able to weather the storm. When the dust settled, many competitors were gone, and Amazon stood stronger by comparison. Survival, it turned out, was a competitive advantage. In 2005, Bezos made one of the most misunderstood decisions of his career: Amazon Prime. For a single annual fee, customers could receive unlimited fast shipping. Wall Street analysts hated it. Shipping was expensive. Margins were thin. But Prime fundamentally changed consumer psychology. Once customers paid for Prime, Amazon became their default store. They stopped comparing prices. They stopped browsing elsewhere. Prime wasn't about shipping, it was about habit formation. And it worked spectacularly. But the most important decision in Amazon's history didn't involve retail at all. It involved something almost no one noticed at the time: Amazon Web Services. Originally built to support Amazon's internal operations, AWS was offered externally, allowing other companies to rent computing power on demand. This single move transformed Amazon into the backbone of the modern internet. Netflix streamed on it. Airbnb scaled on it. Startups, governments, and corporations relied on it. While retail margins remained thin, us generated enormous profits quietly, invisibly, and consistently. Amazon wasn't just selling products anymore, it was selling the digital foundation of the world. Throughout all of this, Bezos' leadership style remained intense and polarizing. He demanded excellence, tolerated failure, and rejected complacency. His leadership principles emphasized long-term thinking, high standards, and decisive action. Critics described Amazon's culture as brutal. Supporters described it as elite. What couldn't be denied was effectiveness. Bezos believed that high standards were contagious and that mediocrity spread faster than excellence if left unchecked. In 2021, Jeff Bezos stepped down as CEO, leaving behind a company that had reshaped commerce, logistics, media, and technology. Amazon was no longer just a retailer, it was a global system. Bezos turned his attention to space exploration through Blue Origin, chasing a childhood dream of expanding humanity beyond Earth. But Amazon remained his defining achievement. Jeff Bezos did not build Amazon by following trends. He built it by ignoring them. He didn't optimize for quarterly profits, public approval, or comfort. He optimized for the future. Amazon's success was not fast. It was not smooth. And it was not guaranteed. It was the result of a mindset that valued patience over praise, infrastructure over optics, and long-term dominance over short-term survival. In a world obsessed with speed, Jeff Bezos proved that patience, when combined with obsession and scale, can quietly change everything. Amazon didn't win because it moved fastest. It won because it stayed committed when others quit, invested when others panicked, and thought decades ahead while everyone else chased the next quarter. What began as a fragile idea in a garage became infrastructure that billions now rely on, not because it was inevitable, but because someone was willing to endure uncertainty long enough to shape the future. And the truth is, stories like this aren't just about business. They're about mindset, conviction, and the hidden power of thinking long-term in a short-term world. If this story changed how you see success, ambition, or patience, let us know in the comments. And if you want more deep, cinematic breakdowns of the people, ideas, and systems shaping our world, subscribe to the channel. New documentaries are released regularly, and the next story might change the way you see everything.